Okay, hello, everyone. How's everybody doing this evening? Wow, this has been a journey. For those who don't understand the journey, who don't know what the journey is, this is Campus Bound GPS. We help students and parents navigate the college application process, and we are live. We are We've been doing this live for the last 30 days.
Wow.
And this is October Tips. What is October Tips, you may ask? Or actually, what you may say is, who are you? Well, I am Lisa Marie Aird. I created the program Campus Bound GPS, and we do help. Our goal is to help students and parents navigate the college application process. I do not come to you as an admissions counselor, a guidance counselor, or anything dealing with the college application process. I come to you as a mom who has experienced the college application process twice over with my own children. And because of how I manage my process with my children, others came to me and said, "Hey, can you work with me so that you can do the same thing that you did with your kids for me and mine?" And I'm like, "Oh." And one after the another, after the many, turned into Campus Bound GPS. And I am so excited. And what I do in the month of October, I call this my community service opportunity, because every day in the month of October, we provide a tip that will help decrease the overwhelm, uh, bring down the stress level, hopefully unburden or drop down the feeling of overwhelm. And you can utilize these tips to help guide you as you go through the college application process, whether you're a parent or a student, because there are so many parts and pieces, and sometimes you kind of get lost in the sauce. So we're here to help you with that. And what I'll do is bring in an expert, and an expert can be a parent, a student, anyone who works in the college application process, dealing with any parts and pieces, or I'll tell you about my experiences, and hopefully that will help you as well. So tonight, as we start on day 30, I have a dear friend of mine. This is his first time on the October Tips platform, and I'm super excited. In fact, he said, "Well, why haven't you ever invited me before?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, the invitation is here." And I sent it out and he said yes. So, Anthony Neptune, welcome, 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 welcome.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I'm honored to be able to share some tips with you. And as a longtime friend, Hamptonian, absolutely, we always rise,
Exactly.
we always rise to the occasion. And this is why we're on here, because this is the tip. Almost 30 years later, we do what we do to support our Hamptonian Hamptonian pride. So I just wanted to come on and basically share one of my tips that my wife and I we actually treasured. It was basically making sure that.
Well,
Uh,
before you get into your tip,
yep.
because I know you're excited, and
Yep.
I'm excited.
Ready.
I'm excited for you to share. But please let our audience know who you are,
Sure.
and a little bit about yourself, a little bit
Sure.
about your journey,
Sure.
because you did have a journey with your daughter,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So let us hear a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but by myself, my name is Anthony Neptune. Have my own business called Symmetry Financial Group. I'm an independent insurance broker with a twist. I help clients actually protect their homes and mortgages, and design strategies to help them to live a better life and grow financial wealth. But the journey is with my daughter. Coming from when we decided on make sure in colleges, we had what do you do, right? What do you do in the whole process? You're kind of overwhelmed with a lot of things. You're especially your firstborn, and now actually my only child. You're kind of like nervous about what that journey is. And one of the tips that I'm going to share today actually, fast forward, she's a senior in college, proved to be vital for the journey. So that's who I am.
Okay. And your tip for this evening is?
So the tip for the evening is you definitely need to visit the campuses. We kind of went a little bit overboard, so to speak. We kind of visited probably about say like 12 to 15 colleges, right? Just to make sure. But I think the tip would be at least, if you need to, don't have the opportunity, especially with COVID, maybe narrow it down to the top 3 or 5 colleges of your choice, and definitely visit the colleges.
Why do you think we should visit the colleges? I know why, but
Yeah, so great question. So back to, I'll give you a tip. I was fortunate, very fortunate that I never visited Hampton University. I picked it out of out of a hat amongst some other things, but I was very fortunate that I made a phenomenal choice. That is not a wise way to, I think,
you
to
know, the interesting thing, and I think it's the generation that we were raised in, there were a lot of folks that I've heard the story that some of the folks who've been on the program attended Hampton sight unseen. I was one of the fortunate ones who
mm,
did, but it changed my trajectory because I was originally going to St. John's, and the most I had seen of St. John's University was running on their track because I was an athlete in high school. I didn't really see the campus, but I knew it was a good school and it had my major. But I was very fortunate to get invited to high school day to see the campus, and I fell in love. But
yes,
a lot of folks that a lot of our generation, parents who have raised their kids to go through this process can tell the same story.
I agree 100%. So I like again, so picking it out of a hat between applying and very being fortunate enough to pick a great college is not an advice nowadays that you'd want to go by. But yeah, so tip number one is definitely visiting 3 to 5 campuses. But number two, in addition, this is the number two tip, not just visit the campus. You want to actually embark on their college tours. So which way, schedule this college tours so that allows you, time to check out the dorms, some of the facilities. You get a chance to meet some of the administrators because a lot of them will be there, and you get a chance to have a little bit more one-on-one as opposed to just picking a Saturday or Sunday, driving down to a campus and then winging it. So definitely tip number two is if allowable, and I know with COVID may be a little bit of challenge in that, but I think a lot of them now are opening up college tours, get a chance, opportunity to see that, which in the dorms and the cafeteria, how the food is. I mean, the whole bunch of backdrops that goes with that as well too. For tip number two.
Yeah, and I remember when so my kids were athletes.
Mm,
So we ran the circuit and it was mostly getting invited to, meet the coaches and so forth, but it was still a chore. It's like, you're I remember driving to from Virginia to Indiana
mm,
and driving to Georgia. And then I drove to Massachusetts and
mm.
North Carolina. So, it is, and there's a feel, when you walk on a
Yes,
campus.
yes.
Every campus has a different look, a different appeal, a different vibe.
Hmm.
And, as a parent, there was one vibe. I visited campus. There was one vibe. I was like, I don't like this. But my
Yep.
child was like, I think I could be here. And I was like, oh. But as a parent, I had to kind of step back and let's talk about this. Why do you like it, and why, and you really got to
Yep.
think about it.
So great point. So the campus that where my daughter attends now was the last visit. Like so it really wasn't on the radar as much in the beginning. So out of all of the tours, 11 to 13, right? The last one was the winner. So it was crazy. Like that, it wasn't. It was kind of a thought. Like, you know what? Let's just see what it's like, and we were just totally blown away by the hospitality. We were
Mhm.
one of those. Looked at a couple of things. The cleanliness of the university, right, was was very very important. So because you got how meticulous the actual the 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 community was as far as taking care of the grass, the flowers, everything was like this on point. We were like, really? And in each phase of the orientation, we were highly impressed. And my daughter was like, you know what? This is home. So out of all of the previous 12, if you want to say, the 13th campus is the one and where she is now. She's thriving. I mean, it's just, thriving beyond belief as far as now where she's at.
And that is so important because once a child feels where they're comfortable in their environment,
Yeah.
that helps. It helps the child with, navigating and being motivated to navigate the system because the campus is a system,
Yes.
and it puts you as a parent at ease
Yes.
to say, you know what, she's okay. My baby girl
Yeah.
is okay.
Yes.
And I can sleep at night.
Yes. Yep. And
Security on campus is a big deal too.
ding, 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 ding. Absolutely. 1000%. I agree. So yes, security is vital, vital. So, the university attends encompasses all of that. So, and then the last tip that I would share is while you're actually visiting, right, and you have those tours, kind of sneak off a little bit and ask, some of the students. So, right, hey, you get the real, right? Because the campus tour could be, they kind of fluffing everything up. They got the pom poms out. They got everything. They're gonna also, put their best forward. They're gonna have probably the top students who are very enthusiastic about the university. But we all know, much like in life, like in jobs, everything, right? There's the good and the bad. So make sure when you have the opportunity to actually, talk to some of the students. We were able to actually, my wife and I were actually, while she was on the tour, we were in the library. She snuck off and spoke to two students who were studying about, hey, can you really tell me how the university is? And out of like say 10 things, 9 were great. So one is like kind of always suspect, but the 9 far outweighed the 10. So that kind of also added because we were on the tour like, wow, why are we really feeling this? But we want to make sure, right? So get the element of talk to a student then and get the full.
So basically, you want to make sure the vibe is real. We're not at this
100%.
we're not in this Twilight
100.
Zone, this fantasy place. The vibe has to be real.
Exactly. You got to feel it, right? You got to feel it.
Mhm.
And the fact that my wife had a good conversation with one of the, I think she was a sophomore at the time. She was a transfer student too, if I remember the story correctly. She was a transfer student. She's like, wow, she really liked this university, really liked this campus. It was one of the best moves that she made, and as far as cleanliness, and everything, safety wise, professors, right? We actually talked to a professor too. Oh my goodness. So actually, one of the tours. So this was the kicker. So one of the tours, after we left, right, we were walking around the campus. So we went into one of the buildings. My daughter's an engineer, so we went into one of the engineering buildings, and we happened to pass a class where there was a professor, just in there. So we introduced ourselves, saying our daughter's thinking of going there. We end up having a 25-minute conversation of
Nice.
how and why he was he was an electrical engineer teacher. My daughter's doing civil engineer. He's like, oh, trying to, just been there for 20 years. His son goes there. His wife works there. And he really also, was very, very gracious in his time explaining the benefit of attending the university. So after the tour, that was the one that kind of seemed like, wow, no, he didn't have to do this. Like 20, 30 minutes, right? So the whole warmth, right, is also
Mhm.
key. That's when we're like, wow, we're so glad we made the last tour because it was kind of like iffy, but yeah, the last one sold it, and the graciousness of the professor, I know if it get kind of really sealed the deal.
That is amazing. And
Yeah.
some other things, what I tend to tell students to do is, especially with you, since you visited um, so many schools, take a cheat sheet, take
Mm,
notes and make comparisons.
great
I know with my
points.
daughter, when it came down, we had her haves and have-nots, and we created this matrix. And it's like, okay, let's just go down the list and then count down as to which comes first, second, and third, because she couldn't decide. My daughter, every campus she went on, oh, mommy, I want to go here. That was like, you gotta choose one, just one school. Oh,
Right.
I like it here. One school.
Right.
Everything was great, and it was. And it was, let's see what's the best fit for you. And it still can be tricky, in the long run, but
Absolutely.
combining that vibe, that feeling with, what will you tolerate? What will you deal with? And what won't you deal with?
Yep.
And put that all in that bundle. And you may have your selection,
Yep.
you know.
Big times. Like, yeah, I agree. All the pros and cons, because we all know there's gonna be cons.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then you make that selection, and then also, and I think as parents, right, you also want to have your child help this decision too, because they're the ones who are going to be going there. So we're the ones spending,
Exactly.
right, the 30 to $70,000 a year, right? So
The
you
sticker
really
price
have to think about.
number,
You said again?
sticker shock
Yeah, the
number.
sticker shock. It's like whoa, like well, hey, I don't know about y'all, but I remember, hey, I could. It was what $8,000 when we left Hampton, like and that was a steep thing, right? So now, fast forward, you're like, what? Like really? Like why is it dorm and all that? So all these factors go into play. So you definitely want to make sure, when you're investing in your
It is an
child, it's
investment.
an investment. So you're investing in your child, that you're making the right decision for him or her, and in a process of elimination. Like you said, I like what you said, that cheat sheet, just phenomenal. So that's where you can at least know that you've made the best choice in attending. So yeah, great points. Love this.
And research even before you go on campus. I think researching the place that you're going to visit
Yes.
is important. take you know take stock. And we had a guest, and I didn't even think about that. We had a guest on, I want to say maybe it was in the beginning of the week. She said, look at the history of the university. Why is the
Sweet.
why is the university there? I think
Great
I
point.
didn't realize the history of Hampton until our senior year, when we were required to take, what was it? Something 101.
Hmm.
They do it now. It's a requirement now. University
Okay.
101. Oh,
University 101. Okay. Okay.
yeah, that
University.
actually started our senior year, and it was basically gaining an understanding
Yep.
of the school, why it was there, and
Mm-hmm.
how we could be better because of it. And when a university puts that, um, when a university explains its culture,
And
at
history.
least for me, that was a benefit
Absolutely.
after I left. And I
Right.
think, but like I said, we came up in a different era where I think our mindset was, we finish high school, we got to go somewhere,
Right.
right?
You gotta go somewhere. You ain't staying in the house. You gotta go somewhere. Correct.
Now, with our children, the way that we've raised, because we've been somewhere,
Yes.
we're now like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's really think about the where that you're going and
Yes.
produce the best part of you,
Yes.
and I think, and
Agree.
now looking at it, because we went through an experience But what about the parents who may not have matriculated to college, and these students are first generation college students? I definitely believe that they should see a campus
Yeah.
before saying yes. We lucked out.
Yeah.
Our generation lucked out,
I
but
agree.
I
Luck,
think
luck is not a strategy now, right?
not.
Luck is not a strategy.
Yeah, because it's super expensive to transfer.
Mhm. Oh,
Um, and it's not, the expense comes with, the school that you may decide to go to, but the expense comes with time. When you transfer,
yes.
it takes away some time.
Yeah.
And, you have to know whether you fit into a large school or a small school,
Critical.
medium-sized school.
That is,
You know,
you are so correct.
I don't know. I don't know how I would have fit in a large school, because I used to shrink at Hampton. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought that was a lot of students, and I was super shy in school.
Right.
So, I don't know how I would have fared at a larger institution,
Yeah, it can.
but
Yeah, the size too can be intimidating. You're 100% because sometimes you can be sucked in to this, you know, 40,000, 25,000 campus, right? And you still have no friends. Like you just because you're overwhelmed, right? Oh, another tip. I know it's an extra tip. Try
go ahead.
try to try to make once you go to school, it's critical when I get there on time and get your buddies because everybody kind of buddies up the first week. If you get there late, everybody kind of partners in, and you're late to the game. You may not be able to find your crew, so to speak. So another tip: try to get there on time. Join up with some of the they had like events, right, to meet some of your classmates, and that is how it'll help that very first week or semester where you know what, okay, I got my crew, a couple of friends. It goes a long way because if you can't really associate yourself with someone, it can be a tough journey, especially if you don't know anyone. So extra tip.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah, I think every school, hopefully, these universities, and I think a lot of them do have activities for freshmen to
Yes.
get to know each other the first week or two of school, so that
Yep.
you don't feel alone.
Yep.
And that's a good question to ask when you visit your campuses. How do
Right.
you forge the transition when students come in, or the assimilation of
Mm.
uh, students when they come into school the first couple of weeks? So that's a good question to put into your visit. And I think the child definitely should be the one asking the questions. Parents kind of,
Yes.
you know, push
Guiding.
push a
Yeah.
little
Little
whatever.
push. Little guide.
Yeah, little
Yep.
push.
You
Say,
should.
hey, you got to ask
You
these
don't want to.
questions.
You're right. You want them to kind of speak up, right? Because they're right now they're transitioning many of them, to being able to basically live on their own and survive on their own. And yes, they're in the umbrella of a university, but the transition is like keeping it real. You know, keeping it washing your clothes and all the other stuff you got to do. I mean, it's like maybe chances are your parents did that for you, and now you're all these little nuances that could really jam you up. No friends, don't really understanding the responsibility of being on your own, scheduling, right? Could
Waking
be
up for
a
class,
major
waking up for
event.
your 8 o'clock class on time.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Meantime, yeah, but yeah, exactly. You gotta wake up. Exactly. Nobody's like saying, "Hey, get out the door and whatever. Go catch the school bus or the train." And if you're in New York City or whatever it is, wherever you come from, right? No one's waking you up. You gotta go. Before your parents off to work and you're going to school. No, you gotta get up and be like, "Oh man, class, 8 o'clock class. Oh my goodness." Especially living off. Yeah, no, we don't want to live off campus. But another freshman year, way too much. There's way too much responsibility off campus freshman year.
That's another
If
good
you're a kid,
question. If for freshmen, I know my cousin, she was telling me
Mm-hmm.
about FAMU. FAMU requires all of their freshmen to live on campus. That is a requirement. It comes with the school.
I
So
think
you're
it's
actually
vital.
paying for on-campus housing your very first year.
I
I
agree. I
like
think that's critical too, because I think it's critical because you get a chance to, commune. I mean, cafeteria, right? All the other social stuff. But if you're living off campus, you're driving or commuting off. You're just going to class. You don't really get the chance to really get the vibe of what the university is. So I think it's really
Mhm.
critical. Freshman year to. So I like that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Living on
So
campus. And,
parents, students, when you're going on your campus tours, it is, first of all, it is vital. It is vital. It is vital to go visit campuses while you're making your decision. It's a part of figuring out what is your best fit, right? Anthony, I was about to call you
yep.
Neptune. So back in school,
It's all good.
that's the tip. But
It's all good.
yeah. But okay, so to your point, parents, students, when you're going on your
Yeah.
campus tours, make sure you go on a campus tour. You're applying right now, you're applying to a lot of schools, and you should be receiving your responses in the next couple of months. During that
Yep.
time, while you're waiting on your responses, take the opportunity to go visit those schools. Take the
100%.
time.
Best
Take the
investment. Take the time.
time. Mhm.
Take the time. It's worth it for you and your child. 1,000%.
And ask the questions, ask pertinent questions,
Yes.
but also look around. You talked about the manicure of the
The
campus,
cleanliness.
um,
Yep.
the
Yep.
cleanliness. So take a look at your campus,
Yep.
find out if you like how it looks. But most of all, you will feel something. And once you
I
step
agree.
foot on that campus, you start walking around, you will feel like this is where I belong. And we want you all to
I
have
agree.
that experience because it's when you feel, I feel like saying Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. I want to go home. This is home. What if when I feel I'm getting it, I'm jacking it all up. But um
That's okay.
you want to
It's all
feel
good.
home. You really want to feel like this is your home because it will be your home for the next 4 to 6 years, depending on what major you're in.
I agree.
So
100%.
that's
And
so important.
side note, one of the
Mhm.
campuses we kind of ex-nayed, we did a side, we asked one of the students, no AC or heat in freshman dorms. So we were like, what? Spending like $50,000 in 2021, and you mean my daughter would have to no heat and AC? Ixnay, even though I don't care. No, 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 no. So yeah, they didn't tell you that on the tour. We asked a student, like, oh yeah, chances are, freshman year you won't have heat. Like what? So another thing, so these are all little tidbits, very vital.
So,
Make a decision.
sneak off to the side during a tour and make sure you speak to students that are there, visit the campus, ask
Yeah.
questions, and feel the vibe.
Mm.
Feel the vibe. Okay,
Feel
looks
the
like,
vibe,
okay,
100%.
there you go.
So it's been
So
so awesome sharing this.
lots of great information. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Get 1% better. You always want to get 1% better, and by hopefully taking down some information with this will be able to assist. So it's been an honor to support my longtime Hamptonian HU do or die. You're right, and support and celebrating on this very very worthy cause. So just happy to
Thank
serve.
you. Thank you
Honored.
so much.
No problem.
So, parents,
All
students, this is day 30. We are wrapping up day 30. There is one more day in the month of October. So, I will be back tomorrow night to wrap up October tips. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being a part. Please, oh, I forget, I always forget to tell everybody subscribe. Please subscribe to Campus Bound GPS. This is our first time on YouTube. We are trying to establish this channel, get you all familiar with it. Please subscribe so you can know when I put extra stuff on here outside of October Tips. This is my joy. This is my passion, helping others, helping students and parents navigate this thing called the college application process. And whatever questions you have, please feel free to write them into, write to us. Let us know what questions you may have, and I'll see how we can get you that information. That's it. This is the end of day 30. One more day to go. I want to say again, thank you. Thank you, Anthony Neptune, for being here. And if you are watching on replay, hashtag replay, let us know that you're watching. This is Lisa Marie Eard for Campus Bound GPS, where we help you, parents, you students, navigate the college application process. I want to say good night and definitely be safe.